Welcome. You're listening to My Magical Horse, the podcast, where we are getting curious about animal communication. I am your host, Jordan Banks, and if you are desiring a more magical connection with your own horse, you are in the right place. Join us as we rediscover our sense of wonder, experience the joy, and feel the magic that horses can and do bring to our lives each and every day. We are so excited to have you here. Thank you for spending your time with us. Now let's get started. Welcome back to My Magical Horse, the podcast. Today, I am so stoked to introduce you to Natalia Graf-Anders, and she is the CEO and basically the mastermind behind Sync Equestrian, which is a riding apparel company. And Natalia and I have never actually met till today on Zoom, but we've been in the same circles. So I've been following her and am excited to actually get to talk to her about how her animals have guided her on this journey. So welcome, Natalia. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I feel like I know you already, although this is like the first time we've officially met. So,
Yeah, I really appreciate you being here. It's so cool. And yeah, I know I like not too long ago I was like, can I be an ambassador for Sync Equestrian? And you're like, "Oh yeah." And I just love I'm gonna just throw this out there right at the beginning. I when Celeste designed the dragon breeches, I had not tried any sync breeches until she did the dragon breeches, and of course she and I are friends, so I was like, I gotta get a pair and see. And then I tried that pair, and then now I can't even tell you how many pairs I have.
yeah, the
But
dragon is one of my faves.
yeah, they are the most comfortable. They really are the most comfortable breeches I've ever worn. And I would rather wear those than jeans half the time. I'm like, gosh, I don't even wear normal clothes. I just want to wear my riding clothes are pretty damn comfortable.
Yeah, you can totally wear them on and off saddle too. Like I wear mine out, and people who don't even ride compliment. They're like, "Where can we get those?" I'm like, "Well, you
Yeah.
don't have beaches, but you could totally rock them off saddle too."
Actually, I had a friend come visit me who is not a horse person, and I wanted to get her on a horse. So, of course, when she was here, I gave her a lesson and I let her borrow one of my pairs of breeches that were Sync Equestrian breeches. And she loved them so much. She's like, "Where can I get a pair of these just to wear?"
I know we need to create a line for everyone now. That's next, right?
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to just start off with that. But so you're kind of a big deal in the equestrian apparel company now, and this podcast is very much focused on animal communication, but also on how horses have, not even horses, just horses, all of our animals, how they guide us onto the path that we find ourselves on today. And I guess my first question for you would be, I know you believe in animal communication now. Have you always believed in animal communication, or what did that look like for you? Like, when did you start to become aware of it? And did you believe in it right away, or did it take some time to kind of get your feet wet? What did that look like?
Yeah, I think I always believed in it, but I didn't know how to do it at first. Like I thought like I would have to hire like a communicator if I really wanted which is still good, and I still, consult with like Shaylee sometimes, and because she's just like absolutely amazing.
Uh-huh.
I worked with Felicity too, but we can all communicate with animals, and for me in the beginning stages, what that looked like was just big love. I communicated with my horse through love.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first got him, people told me he was dangerous and oh my God, he's gonna like kill me one day and I need to sell him and all of these things. And I never believed that because deep down that my love for him was so big and I know he felt that. And it was just a feeling. I knew that he would never intentionally hurt me. Now, were there things we had to work on, as far as regulating his nervous system so he doesn't spiral and all of those things? Yes, but deep down, I knew that this horse was never going to hurt me because my love for him was so big. And horses feel our energy and they resonate with it. And it was just like this immediate trust that I had with him where I believe it's a form of animal communication as well because they can sense that our intention is pure, it's all love, and they feel comfortable expressing themselves, which is what I wanted for my horse. But I think a lot of people didn't understand that all the outbursts in the beginning were just him telling me how much agony he was in, and it
Mhm.
was because I sent him so much love and he felt comfortable to tell me these things.
Or he felt safe. Yeah.
Exactly, he felt safe. And that is when our journey really started, me taking him from this explosive horse to who he has become now and how he's shaped my horsemanship in a completely different way. I had to shift the way I work with horses from everything I was ever told because those traditional ways just did not work with him. Like he's not the kind of horse that you can just say, you're going to submit to me, this is what we're going to do, and you're going to have to do it. Like he's very um I call him my powerhouse because he's so powerful and he just won't submit to you, which is exactly how I am. Like he is my twin flame in that sense where we are the same. And I think
Hmm.
I understood him because I see myself in him. Like as soon as I met him, it was like this, just the way we met in general was like the craziest story ever. And I've shared this, I think, on a few podcasts. I'm going off topic now. We can get into that.
No, no, that's okay. Yeah, no, I listened to some of those podcasts, and what I was going to say is that what caught my attention of what you said on one of those interviews was he was just so magical. And I'm like, "Oh, that's the name of my podcast, My Magical Horse."
That's our
And
logo is my horse. So it's King, and I call him half dragon, half unicorn. So
that's
it
so
looks like
cool.
a dragon, it looks like a unicorn, and
That's so cool.
magic. Yeah. So
I wanted to ask you when you said he was just so magical, like explain to me what you were feeling and basically maybe how you've carried that into what steps you took to overcome all these obstacles that you were finding because I know that you said that you never even rode him before you bought him.
yeah. When I tell other people that, they're like, "What?" So the way we met, when I first met him, I was at a very different point in my life. I was a completely different person. I had no confidence, no outlook on life. I had no idea where to go, what my purpose was. I felt very depressed and lost. And the reason I actually met him is because I was so depressed. I needed to find a way to push myself to get out of bed. And horses were my happy place since I was a little kid. So I signed up to volunteer at a facility that actually retrained and rehomed ex-race horses. And and I took care of those ex-race horses at the facility. And the first day I got there is the day that King got off the trailer. Like, how crazy is that, right? Again, I had no idea I was gonna buy this horse. I didn't even know what I was gonna do for work, yet alone like buy a horse. We all know horses are crazy expensive. And
Right.
I just I had no idea. And I saw him come off the trailer, and I'll never forget the second he stepped off that horse trailer, it was like in slow motion. Like my whole world stopped. And
Really?
I kept referring to him as she for like a month. But now I know why. At the time, I just like, why do I keep calling him she? He's a gelding. Like, stop doing that, you know? But when I saw him come off that trailer, I was like, oh my God, she's so powerful. She's so strong. She's so elegant. She's so this, she's so that. She's so magical. But I was describing what I saw in myself that I hadn't discovered yet in him because he's my
Mm-hmm.
hero. So I see him come off this trailer, like all hot and like feisty and like untamed in a way. And he gave me a spark. Like the second I saw him, I was like, oh my God. So then, long story short, of course, he injured himself while he was there. So usually these horses were in and out, like they would be there for maybe a month and then they would go, for sale for their next home. And he injured himself. So during that time, he wasn't being ridden at all. He ended up staying there longer. I was taking care of him. And the person who owned the facility and him saw that we were bonding and she was like, do you want to buy him? Because I'm going to sell him soon. I can't keep him here any longer. He's been here for a while. And I was like, buy him. Like, with what money? Like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do for work. Like, how am I gonna pay off his board? Like, all these thoughts were, coming in, and I had no confidence. He was like the 17-hand, beautiful ex racehorse. I I've been around horses, been riding since I was a little kid, but during that time, my confidence was just so low.
And
It was
how old were you then when this was happening?
I was 30.
30. Okay. And
Like,
we'll go, yeah, I know you have a huge history. We'll go into some of that, but yeah, keep going on your story.
yeah. So then I was like, what the heck? Like, and before I got depressed and into like this phase of volunteering there, I had a corporate job that was super miserable that I worked, and I was taking Adderall just to get through life, just to go to this job that I hated. You know, I had a cushy salary and everything looked great, but I was super unhappy and super miserable. And I had quit that job and I left, my penthouse apartment, got rid of my fancy car and everything and showed up. And this is when I was going through what I call the dark night of the soul because my whole world changed and I was like, I'm no longer going to live like this. There's got to be more to life. I've always been a dream chaser, which is why I moved to New York, in my early 20s, and I did a bunch of out of the norm things there, like not following societal standards in a way. But then I thought, oh no, no, I have to have, this corporate job and this cushy salary. So I went down a different
Mm.
track and I did that. And I was like a horse who had to submit to something very shut down until one day I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I quit the job. I showed up, at my parents' house. I was like, I need to get off these pills and get off the Adderall. And that's when my healing journey began. And during this was the hardest year of my life because when you stop taking Adderall too, your brain doesn't know how to pump like dopamine and all these things anymore because you used to give it a chemical. So you're like, usually when you're coming off of it, you're extremely depressed. So I had no motivation, no money, no outlook on life, nothing. Just horses were the only thing that was literally getting me out of bed. So then, I go to this facility, I meet him, she's like, buy him. I end up buying him and I work off the board by working there, continuing to take care of the horses and so on. So when I got him, he was like such a handful. He was a lot and he scared me. And it's because like now I look back and I can see I was afraid of my own power because I saw him so powerful, so proud. Even though he came off the racetrack, his life was changing too. He went from probably a similar past as mine, right? Doing a job he did not like. And boom, now here he is. Where do I go? What's my next thing? What are we doing? And we're both at the same point at the same time, except he knew his power and I didn't know mine. So he was teaching me from the very beginning how to really step into my power, how to be fearless, how to trust myself. And little by little, like as soon as our souls found each other again, my life completely changed. He's the sole reason I started Sync Equestrian, which is like now a massive, massive success, and it's my dream career, my dream life. And he is such an integrated part of the whole process from beginning to end. I consult my horse. I talk to him about everything.
So
And
I was gonna say, so what did it look like when, like, did you consult with an animal communicator initially, or did you get messages from him right off the bat, or what did that look
yeah, so I think I got messages from him right off the bat, as far as training goes.
like? Okay.
I knew when something was not right. So I had
Mhm.
someone there who was working with him. And she was actually also the person who told me to sell him and he's so dangerous and he's gonna, kill me or he needs to be in this kind of training and da 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 da. And but I had no backbone at the time. And I just was, you're listening to this person who owns this place and owns all these horses or rents the place or whatever, and you think they know more than you. Like I had no backbone, but deep down, I knew that that way wasn't right. And he was telling me it wasn't right.
Mhm.
Like now I've worked with him through overcoming trauma from the bit and all of that. So he can wear a bit, but at the time there was so much tension and trauma with the bit from the ex-racehorse, from racing, how they can't release and they're just holding that
Mhm.
tension that he was telling me he wanted to be bitless right off the bat.
Oh, wow.
And that was like a vision I saw. That was like one of the first things I did when I first got him. Again, 17 hand ex-racehorse sensitive. I just threw a bitless bridle on him without any practice, and he was an angel.
Really?
Yeah, an angel. Like he
Ah.
understood right away, and it's what he wanted. So that was like one of the first things so basically, he's chosen his training, which took me down the pathway of, finding Celeste and doing BTMM, and like now just a completely different way of riding and working with horses in general. But he
Mhm.
was the caterpillar to all of it. And I believe that was him giving me the messages. It wasn't me looking for it necessarily. It would just kind of come to me in a very magical way. That's the best way to put it. Um, so yeah.
That's cool. So I know that in the interview I was just listening to with Felicity, you were talking about a little bit like sometimes like you went down the path where you did all these things to make sure that his body was so that he was able to do the things that you were asking of him. But then sometimes he wouldn't want to do what you were asking of him. And then you were explain that. What did that look like and how did you decide how did you work him through that?
Yeah, so very interesting. I switched barns.
Okay.
And there was absolutely nothing wrong with my last barn. I just think he was ready to move because
Hmm.
I would have issues with him not wanting to do things in the ring, for example. And I didn't want to fight with him. So we would just hack more at the time. So around when did we move? In mid-May, we moved to a new barn, and he's a completely different horse. Like all of the things that he did not want to do there, he is now eager and willing to do. And he just like his body, mind, and everything just went up the roof. Like he is in the best physical shape, mental shape. Like I'm just amazed every single time I ride him right now. Like I can't even believe it. So I think he was telling me that it was time to go, but I just thought he wanted to stay there because he was out on 30 acres with like his
Mm.
friends and things, which is why I also stayed there for many years. But he actually wanted to have a smaller herd and he wanted to have a king lifestyle. He's a very bougie horse, which is why I named him King. He likes to be pampered. He likes things a certain way. He likes his routine. He likes nice things for him. I know it's like, but he tells me this too. So now I've taken him to a really bougie barn and he's just blossoming and he picked his own name too, because I renamed him a year.
Really?
Yeah.
What was his name before?
So when he came off the track, the person who bought him named him Russo after the philosopher. And then because he was like kind of wild, I was like, oh, and like dark and big and stuff. I was like, I like Batman. But then a year in, when we left that place, because that place was very toxic for us, I had no backbone and everything. We ended up leaving that place when the lady told me to sell him and everything. It was either sell him or, so we left. Then I came up with his name, and it's almost like when you know, it just came to me, and I was like, King, that's it. And it just felt right. Like Batman didn't feel right, Russo didn't match him, but I know that was him again, like picking his name once we moved to our final destination at the time, where we stayed for 6 years.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Okay.
And he lives up to it. Like this horse, if you were to meet him, he's very noble, he's very proud, he's very powerful in a way I've never met. And I've worked with other horses. I've never met a horse so in his power, like unapologetically though.
Hmm.
But he's kind and gentle at the same time. It's not like a power that's like abusive. It's this beautiful
Yeah.
masculine energy of just power.
Well, it's interesting when you were talking about all the things, all the the words that were coming to your mind when you saw him come off the trailer. And what it made me think of is that like they say that you can't see something in someone else unless it's also in you. So you were seeing, like you said, you were seeing all these things in him, and those were the things that you were going to discover in yourself through your relationship with him or through your journey with him. When did you start doing the Joe Dispenza? I know you say you meditate every day. When did you start following Joe Dispenza stuff?
So my awakening was in like 2017. Then 2018 was that really hard year where I was
Hmm.
healing. So
So
around that
you were
time,
already on the awakening process before the dark night of your soul?
yeah. And
Okay. Okay.
I had this wonderful, I just remember this one day, I'll never forget it. It was like right when I woke up and I went outside and all I saw was love. Like I saw people like that whole day was in slow motion too. It was almost like I was in a trance state. And I
Yeah.
just felt and saw so much love in every single human being that I saw, and every person and everything and like it was like the most mind-blowing and most beautiful feeling I ever experienced. And the universe was like, hey, we're gonna show you something. But then it was like Dark Night of the
Oh,
Soul. But you
wow.
gotta go through all of this first, right?
Well, let's take a little pause because I know we didn't talk about this yet. So prior to that happening, talk to people. So I know you grew up in Germany. We didn't tell anybody that yet, unless you've followed Natalia on other podcasts. But so she grew up in Germany, and did you grow up with horses there?
Yeah, I started writing there when I was like 6. And I
Yeah.
moved here when I was 12 to the United States. My parents won a green
Okay.
card and a lotto.
Oh,
So I didn't speak
wow.
any English. I was very German, like born and
Wow.
raised there. And then we came here at 12 and kind of started like a brand new life.
Wow, that's cool. I actually lived in Germany for 3 years.
Oh, where?
Yeah, in Schweinfurt, Germany. My
Okay.
my ex-husband was in the military. So for 3 years I lived in Germany. But yeah, it's like I was gonna assume that you did ride there because I mean it's a very big thing over
Yeah.
there,
It's-
riding. And then so you came here when you were 12. And then how old were you when you decided to move to New York? And what did that look like because I know you were a model and like what kind of modeling were you doing and how did you get into it? Just curious. I,
Yeah.
we can go all over the map on this podcast. It's totally fine.
I always wanted to be, I guess, a model when I was in high school because it was cool. Like America's Next Top Model was out. And I think it was like a way for me. Like I was chasing the wrong things to feel worthy. So I put a lot of emphasis on my looks and things like that. And
Hmm.
I thought, oh my gosh, like if I become a model, then it means like I've been picked, right? And then if I've
I'm
been
good enough. I'm good
I'm
enough.
good enough. I'm finally good enough, right? And it was
Yeah.
a very toxic environment. I was always told to like, oh, you need to lose weight, or like you would see people who were like much skinnier than you. It was like you were never good enough.
You were never, even though you were picked, you were still never
Yeah,
good enough.
you were always criticized. You were never good enough. I remember like one agent told me to dip cotton balls in orange juice and eat that to lose weight
What?
really quickly. That's actually how I got on Adderall as well because another model told me Adderall, will keep you really skinny because it just suppresses your appetite, so you never have to worry.
Oh,
And that's
wow.
how that whole Adderall journey started, but it also like transferred into my corporate life. But this was a very important chapter in my life
Hmm.
because I worked
That's why
for
I want you to talk about it because, yeah.
so it was very toxic and I went through a lot. And I worked for brands. So it was also really important for me to see how everything works with brands, right? Like the photo shoot, how
Mm-hmm.
all of this works. Like every single job I've basically had in the past, even my corporate job, helped me build my company. So I'm never
Hmm.
ungrateful. Everything is a lesson to me. I don't regret anything, right? So this was a very important lesson. And I believe we can turn our trauma into medicine for others. So then I went through this. When I started Sync, I said, I'm going to make sure that we show all body types, not just that, but also all ages, because it's really important to me for every woman to feel seen and to feel beautiful. Like the patriarchy and the media, they really try to make women feel like they're not worthy the way they are. So they're always buying more stuff to stay young, to stay skinny, to stay this, to stay that. And I still have those traumas for myself. I'm not fully healed by any means. I'm still like, I'm
It's a
aging.
lifelong journey.
And it really is. But as a woman-owned business, it was extremely important to me to change the industry,
Hmm.
especially in the equestrian space. I think we were one of the first brands to really show
Hmm.
every body type. You never saw that. You always saw one equestrian, one look, one ethnicity, one body type, one just look of what a rider is supposed to look like.
Right.
And then not only do I show, all the ages and body types and so on, but I make sure they're empowered. Because the whole mission behind Sync isn't just clothing, it's really turned into a movement of empowerment and making women feel really, really beautiful and confident. And I've received and I think our customers really feel that intention in the clothing because I've received so many emails and messages from customers who said they've cried when they put on our outfits because they just feel
Wow.
so beautiful. And
Oh,
that's our intention. It's like woven into the fabric. And we have the little fearless reminders. And then
yeah.
so there's like two umbrellas with Sync. Like one is like the woman empowerment piece. Like I want all women to feel empowered the way I do. Like step
Hmm.
into your power. Don't be afraid. Go do that thing. Allow yourself to shine. Don't let others dim your light. If something's toxic, leave. Like that sort of thing. If your
Hmm.
barn is toxic, leave. If so different messaging with everything. And then the other part is changes for the horse, which is why I did the balance through movement method collaboration. And when we designed the dragon breeches with the rhinestones and stuff, it was, to make people feel beautiful and stuff. But then the other piece with every purchase of the dragon breeches, I send a flyer with before and after pictures of BTMM so people who are buying the Dragon Breeches can see the changes and get familiar with, what it can do, and then they can go and sign up and things like that. So it's really important to me to also showcase new ways of biomechanical work with horses and how we can help our horses really strive in their bodies, right?
That's
And
awesome.
that's all King doing that. Like I know he's like I call him the CEO of the brand because he's
I
just
love that.
strings of hitting all these different points that are important. And I think the more empowered women feel too, and more comfortable and happy and good in their skin, the more they can also hear their horses because it goes hand in hand. So it's all
Yeah.
connected
And I
in a
just want to throw out here real quick for people who haven't or are not familiar with BTMM. I actually interviewed Celeste, who's the founder of BTMM. I think it was episode 5 of My Magical Horse. So you can catch that and learn more about balance through movement method. But yeah, how did you meet Celeste? How did that happen?
a friend of mine, her horse had wobblers.
Oh, okay.
And she didn't think it was wobblers, and she
Mm,
got into BTMM, and then she told me about it. And then I
okay.
signed up for the master class, and I was like, wow, this makes so much sense. This makes so much sense. Yes, like I was agreeing with everything I was seeing. And then I did a one-on-one with Celeste at the time, and that's how we met for the first time, like on camera. I met her in real life later on. I did the EOC clinic, and I
Yeah,
met
elements
everyone.
of
I met
connection.
yeah, and Tara, who I've worked with Tara a lot too on a training level for King. I
Oh,
think
that's
she's
cool.
absolutely amazing as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I know I went to the first Elements, the one that was in California. So I didn't
yeah,
get to meet you because you went to the one that was in North
yeah, and I took
Carolina.
King with me, and that was such a
Oh,
good.
that's so cool.
My God, it was a 7-hour drive, and I was so nervous to take him because I've never taken him that far. And I was like, but I gotta take him. I know I have to. I know I have to. And it was amazing. But yeah, so that's
That's
how we met, and
awesome.
then we stayed in touch. And then I think when I had met her, we already had the dragons out.
Oh,
Yeah.
when you
Mhm.
finally met her. Yeah, I'm sure you probably did actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I know. I love this. This is a fun conversation. Let's
yeah.
go back to the modeling thing for a minute. So you decided, and oh, I'm just preface this by saying, like I ended up going to Elements of Connection because they were talking about it being like for people and horses who have been through trauma. And
Mhm.
so that is kind of the thing that really got my attention and why I decided I needed to go. And if you want to talk about any of those things involved in the modeling or what, you know, because that all leads into the dark night of your soul that then turned into this huge, beautiful,
Yeah.
this 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 thing that you've created came because of all those things that brought you to that dark night of your
So
soul, so to
yeah.
speak.
So there were like there was good and bad too, right? I mean,
Mhm.
the good part is I was still very free-spirited. Like I lived my life the way I wanted.
Mhm.
But the trauma came with like the eating disorders and never
Mm.
feeling good enough. And like, I would like not eat, or in high school I had bulimia. So I struggled with eating disorders all my life
Even before you started modeling?
before I started modeling, yeah.
Okay.
But it
Okay.
got really bad, because it was like now you have to be like really in New York, like you have to be really, really skinny. So it was like size zero, size double zero. Oh, nope, nope, you gotta do
And
this.
how tall are you?
5'9".
See, that's what's crazy. You got to be a size 0 or size double zero and you're 5'9".
Yeah,
I'm
so it's
I'm
very
five I'm 5'10" and a half. So, and I did model for 2 years, but I never went to New York. So, but I'm familiar with the
And then
world.
it was very glamorous from the outside looking in, like all the parties I went to were like celebrity filled, like we party with like Leonardo DiCaprio, and like you would think, oh my gosh, like this is like amazing. But then I would go home every night and I felt sadness. I was very sad, like inside. I
Like you
just
just
felt
felt
lonely and
empty.
sad and not fulfilled. And it's really interesting. So I spent almost 12 years in New York. And
Wow.
during that time, I would dream about horses very often. So
But
then
you weren't riding or involved with horses
nothing,
and then.
not at all. So
Hmm.
then when I was like going through my dark before the dark night of the soul, when everything was coming to me, I was meditating, and they said the horse collective, like, so I'm basically like part of like this horse collective tribe, like my soul,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
they, in order for me to kind of get through life's battery, for me, it's horses, and they showed up in my dreams all the time to give me that battery because I wasn't getting it in physical form, and I literally need it to get through life, to do life.
Mhm.
And then they also said, and at the time it didn't make sense because I didn't even have a horse. I hadn't even met King, but they said, uh you're gonna come, she's like, there's a part of a collective, like horsemen, that are changing things in the industry. She's like, there, it's only a 1% of the population. You're part of that 1%, but don't worry because you're gonna meet your tribe, you're gonna meet the others. And at the time I was like, what the hell are they talking about? It was like, I was like in such a trance when this meditation happened, and then at the end of the meditation they said, now you're gonna see a fly in front of you and it's gonna go zip and you're gonna come out of it. And I swear to God, there was a fly in front of me that went zip and I was like out of this trance. It was like the craziest thing. I'll never forget it. And I wrote it down
Wow.
because I was like just going, like my hand wouldn't stop. And I was like, horse collect? Like I didn't know what any of this meant. It was like, mind you, this is traditional horse person me, who
Yeah.
didn't even have King, who came from Germany in a very traditional way. I rode through high school, very traditional way. And I was like, what are you talking about? Horsemen, collective horsemen, like the horse collective? What is all this? And then it made sense because I came across so many people now who are in that same, I guess, wavelength of working with horses that I'm in. And, I think little by little, the industry is changing just by more
Mhm.
horse women and men becoming aware of how to how to let these horses take us into what kind of training they need instead of us thinking that we know better. And that's
Right.
one thing I will always say about me is I never put myself above any animal, not just horse, any animal. Like we are equals, and like to horses, I say this because I guess maybe my horse's name is King, but I almost bow down to horses because to me they are on a much higher vibrational frequency than us, and we should bow down to horses. Like they are the most magical healing beings, and they've done so much for us, with the evolution of humankind, even helping us get around, build cities, do all these things. And the horse collective at the time also told me that their job now is to part of their job in this time now is to help women step into their power. There's a huge shift happening in the world, and that's why we see more women working with horses now, and they're helping women really step into their power. And that just goes hand in hand with what when Sync came around, like this
Wow.
maybe a year before, right? So it's like all so connected in such a beautiful way. And yeah, I'm just
So
grateful.
that's pretty impressive. You were getting those messages from the horse collective, and that's just from meditating. Like you hadn't worked with an animal communicator at that point.
I worked with an animal communicator. My first one was when I had King and he was like out of control. Uh,
Mm.
and I didn't know what to do because I was like put in that corner. Oh, another crazy thing that happened. So right before I was told to sell him from that place we were at because he was so dangerous and blah blah blah, blah, I was going on a trip. And I had a dream the day before I left for this trip. And the dream was that I sold him. And I was crying, trying to buy him back. And the people wouldn't sell him back to me. And then I woke up out of this dream. And like literally felt so real. And I was like, I will never sell this horse no matter what happens. And I didn't even know that that trainer was going to come and tell me that. This was like a week before.
Oh, wow.
It was so vivid. And I don't know, if it weren't for that dream, I don't know what I would have done because I was kind of being pushed in a corner. So then a week later, I'm on this trip and she's like texting me like, your horse tried to kill me, da 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 da. He's so dangerous. We need to sell him. And I stood my ground because I kept remembering that dream too. So I think everything has been so divinely guided
Yeah.
with like every step of the way.
And
Yeah.
that was part of you learning, like, because you said you didn't have a backbone and you weren't sure of yourself. But in a way, like, he's been helping you become more sure of yourself and develop that strength that you needed to step out in the way that you're stepping out into the world now. Do you want to talk more about that or expound on that at all?
Yeah, I think the biggest like when I think of King, I just think power. You know,
Hmm.
like he's really helped me step into my power. And I'm not saying in a controlling way, and just
Hmm.
a knowing of like there are no limits. We can achieve anything. We are powerful. Like we are that's when I even when I ride him, like it's like I've ne it's you just feel the power of him like just in my heart. Just remind even on like the days where I'm like, I'm gonna play victim. I don't feel good. This, that. And he's like, nope, we don't do that. We don't do that. We remember how powerful we are and that we can achieve anything we set our mind to. He's very business profesh too. He's just got this like very direct, um, he's not like a super cuddly horse either. Like sometimes he'll cuddle, but like he's just very king. You know,
Yeah.
this is what we're doing. We're powerful. We're not going to sit here and whine. We're going to go do it. We're going to remember who we are. And that's what he really, and I think I need those traits to successfully run a business. Because as I mentioned earlier, I'm very type B. I just go with the flow all the time. But it gives me the peace of like, this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it, you know, and we get it done.
And
It,
you said you were a little bit afraid of him in the beginning. How
yeah.
how did you overcome that, or what did that look like?
I knew I had to overcome it to keep him.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I had to overcome the fear because how can I be afraid of my own horse?
Yeah.
He was my love for him was so strong that I was willing to do what like to just I don't know. I think little by little I just got more confident.
Do you feel like the different people you were working with helped build that confidence, or do you think it just kind of came
I think
from
when I came,
practice or mind, you setting your mind to it, or what do you think?
I think I was left alone with him for many years until I found my people in that way,
Mm.
where I was doing everything on my own. You know, I was like training this horse on my own mostly based on intuitive action. But again, like I wasn't that experienced to be taking on a horse like him, but I also knew that everyone around me who was telling me to put side reins on him and to draw reins and this and that, it didn't resonate with me. I couldn't do it. You know, I remember one time I was told to put it's like some sort of like draw rein system on the lunge line to help him come
Like
up.
a Pessoa or something
Kind
like
of. It's like
that?
it attaches, so it like forces the head down to get them to lift. And I tried it and he just stopped and he looked at me. And when he looked at me, I knew exactly what he was saying. And I was like, okay, let's take it off. So I went against what everybody was telling me. That took a lot of backbone in the
Mhm.
beginning, especially, you know, until I found my people. And then when I found my people with like training, once I got into BTMM, I got connected to so many, like Tara, I started working with Tara, Celeste, like all these other people, Stacia. Um, and then I kind of found my trainers. Like now I have a wonderful trainer who also was into BTMM. And
Mm,
she's
great.
at, you know, the new place that I just moved to. She comes and sees us and she works with Stacia a lot too. And everything is aligned now. Now I have the right tools and the right people, but before I found that, I was just doing everything intuitively myself, and he was no longer dangerous, I'll tell you that. So at
Mm.
least I got that, you know. But the BTMM is what really helped him release even more tension in his body. So the trust and the bond was there. He knew I would always listen to him. He was safe to express how he feels with me. I would always like do what's best for him and not me. And then he connected me to the right people to help us with the other parts where I just didn't know what to do.
Wow. So go back to when you woke up that one morning and you felt like just everything was love.
Yeah.
And then talk about your journey since then and how you started sync. Like what did that look like? Were you getting messages from your horse, your dog? Just
Yeah.
whatever you want to share.
Love is the highest frequency to me. Love is the my goal in life is wholeness, right? We're not here to like we might think we're here chasing goals like you know I'm a very abundant person and I thought okay if I hit this goal I'm gonna feel really really good. I have a lot of money. This is great, you know? And abundance is great. I'm not gonna lie. It makes life I like nice things. Yeah, it can bring you comfort and things like that and travel and all the other things you might want to do, but wholeness comes from within. And we're all just striving to feel wholeness and love. We think if we hit certain goals, we're going to feel wholeness and love. So it's not really the thing that we're chasing, it's more of the feeling that we're chasing. And once we can feel that now, everything else will kind of follow that. Like, so if why aren't we feeling wholeness and love and whatever we think we're going to get if we have $50 million in our bank account? What is that going to do for you? Why don't you feel that now? You know, I think that's the whole point of life is to feel whole and to just feel ultimate love for everyone, for all humanity. Like when in the beginning of my spiritual journey, like of horse people, so I was very segregated in my horsemanship ways. I was like, oh my God, they're doing things this way. I can't, da, 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 you know? But now I'm at a place of, first of all, change is not going to happen if we're just like on two separate sides. There has to be unity and there has to be compassion for others because everyone is doing their best at their level of awareness. And especially with horses, I struggled with this for some time where I always thought, this is so messed up to the horse. I feel so sorry for the horse. But then when I feel sorry for the horse, I'm actually taking the power away from that horse, right?
Mm,
And who am I to say this horse doesn't know what it's doing? Because I believe our horses have soul contracts with us. And this horse, in particular, whether it's being ridden in a way that I don't agree with, is in this person's life for a reason. And they're on a journey and they're doing things and their soul is evolving and has nothing to do with me. And me feeling sorry for this horse is almost like disrespectful on my end. I'm not going to take the power away. So I've
mhm,
come to realize that instead of creating separation and like, oh, I don't agree with this or this is fucked up, love everyone and you also give yourself the sense of peace when you just love everyone because everybody's doing their best again to their level of awareness. So when someone does something messed up to me, like let's say somebody's like really rude or we have customers who are just like, I don't know, they freak out about something and they're just nasty to like our operations manager. Like instead of taking that personal, you don't know what that person's going through. If they're talking to another human being like this, just imagine how they're talking to themselves in their own head. And the
mhm,
best thing you can do for yourself and that person is to send them love because love is the ultimate highest vibration. Now you're not also not going to allow yourself to break your emotional state and get into a lower frequency because by sending them love, you just also elevate your own frequency, but you also help that person. And we just have to see past the ego, and past all of these things and just come from a place of oneness. I just went to a Dr. Joe Dispenza like 1 week retreat and it was like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Imagine 1,500 people opening up their heart space to each other. The kind of like love you feel, the kind of love I saw from human to human was just they had coherence healing sessions where sick people, would come in front of a group of six of us and we did coherence healing on them, all coming from the heart center. And like
wow.
the vibration, the feeling, the oneness, the universal oneness I saw and witnessed was just something I've never seen before. And that is the highest form frequency that we can get on this planet is to realize that we're all one and to love one another and not to, and it's hard sometimes because we're human. Our egos will be like, oh, what the fuck? Why did she do that? You know, like, or why did he do that? Or who does he think he is saying that to me? And then we spiral and then we keep hanging on to this feeling. But then the other thing is we all have, and I could get into this topic because that's like a whole nother thing, but we're all addicted to certain emotions throughout
Mm,
certain times of the day. 10 p.m. every day, you want to feel sadness. So what does your body do? Your body finds abused animals to look at on Facebook to validate that feeling of sadness. At 9 a.m. every morning, your body is addicted to anger. So what happens? You're in traffic, road rage, you get mad at, your coworker, your spouse, whatever. Because your body is programmed to feel certain emotions at certain times every single day. But the thing is, most of us are really unaware to this, so we don't even realize it.
mm,
We're like on autopilot and we allow our body to just kind of take the lead and feel what it wants to feel without saying, hey, I don't want to feel anger. I don't want to feel sadness. What if I replace that with gratitude? What if I replace that with love? What if I replace that with joy? What if I replace that with empowerment? Now imagine at 10 a.m. every morning, your body is addicted to feeling empowered. At 12 p.m., your body is addicted to feeling grateful. you know what kind of changes happen in your life? Your whole life will change because we're so unaware of our feelings and our thoughts that we're just a co-pilot living in the passenger seat on what's actually unfolding around us. But we are the creators. We can create anything we want. You can turn an electron into matter in a matter of literally weeks, even
How do
faster if you're really good at manifesting.
how do you recommend people that aren't familiar with those shifts? How would you recommend they start to?
Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Okay.
Gotta read the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself or Supernatural, get into his work because I think as humans, a lot of us still want scientific evidence. So you get that, you get the scientific part, but he also shows you how you can go into the field and change the frequencies and rewire your subconscious brains. There are a lot of parts on it, and I think he is the best of the best. I mean, I've been doing his work since 2018 and I changed my whole life. So I think
Yeah.
um he's the best of the best and
And
everybody should do it. It's like 50 years in the future.
how did you find him? And like, where was that in your, so you said you
Yeah.
started your awakening and then was he what started your awakening or what had you already been on the path a little
I
bit
had
before?
already started meditating. I was already on the path, and an ex-boyfriend of mine was reading the book Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and I just was like, "Oh, what is this?" And I was like, "Oh, I like how this sounds. This is an alignment. Yeah, I'm gonna read it." And then, yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
game over.
So, and you meditate every day?
Yep, sometimes twice. Oh,
How
honestly,
long?
right now, so I do an hour in the morning and I do my breath work, and then sometimes I do an hour and a half in the evening. My challenge right now is to do an hour and a half in the evening for 30 days straight, like no breaks. But it becomes easier and easier the more you do it because you see the benefits. You see how it changes your life. And I look forward to my meditations because I know it changes my frequency. It makes me super aware of when I slide into that passenger seat and I allow my emotions to take over. I'm like, nope, we're not doing that. We're going to get addicted to the emotion of gratitude. We're not going to be, we're not playing victim. We're not doing this, you know? And when you become that hyper aware in life, you really start becoming the creator and you can shift. And then your heart just tingles all day long. Like even right now while I'm talking to you, my heart is tingling. Like it just is like so big. And that's because I do all the meditations to focus on my heart and to keep expanding it so that it stays with you. You feel this sense of love all day long. You know, it has nothing to do with accomplishments, it has nothing to do with anything outside of me. It's just this feeling of love for life and right now for like humans in general. I have so much love for people in a way that I felt separated from for a while. I always put animals above, which I still do, but at the same time, I don't feel separation from others the way I used to because I've really been
Mm.
honing in on this oneness. I think maybe seeing that at the retreat did something.
Mm.
It just, yeah.
And the retreat was just not too long ago, like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I got back. It'll be 2 weeks on Thursday
Okay, but you've been doing his work for how many years?
since 2018.
So yeah, so
But
so
not so since 2018, but I started doing them every single day where I was like meditating only his meditations every single day, 2022.
2022. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you first started meditating, what did it look like when you first started? Because you're saying you can do an hour and a half now, but like when you first started, what did it look like?
But even if I'm doing an hour and a half, that doesn't mean that I don't slip away.
Mm,
I just bring myself back. And I notice when I slip away and I'm like thinking about dinner, like, oh shit. Like, nope, I'm right back. And those are your best meditations because your body is like, as Dr. Joe Dispenza calls it, I don't know if I like this terminology that much, but he calls it an untamed, unbridled horse that you need to you tame. He's like, your body is that horse that needs to be
you're not
tamed.
gonna let it stay wild.
Yeah, you need to tell your body wants to leave the meditation, but every single time you stay and you're like, no, body, I'm going to tame you, you're going to stay, that's a win. That's a win every single time you catch yourself. So even though I've
Mm,
been meditating for years, that doesn't mean that I can literally sit there yet for an hour and a half and just be so fucking present the whole time. Can I do long section parts of being present now? Yes, but that doesn't mean like I leave and I come back. And that's how it looked in the beginning too. But what I like is that he has the guided meditations. So you've
mm,
got music that really helps. The music helps open up your heart space, and he kind of guides you through it. So you're
So
not
you're doing his guided
I only do
meditations.
his meditations, and
Okay.
I get them from his website. You can find
Okay.
some of them on YouTube. He also has some walking meditations that I really like because I'm a very active person with my body. So like doing it in a trance while I'm walking is so fun. So I like go on a walk. For some of it, you've got to close your eyes, and then you open your eyes and you're in this trance, living in your future, and it's so fun. So there are a lot of different ones you can do, but I highly recommend understanding his work first.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you may not understand what he's talking about in the meditations when he's like, you're in space and now focus on one, the different energy centers and things like that. So, uh,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So talk about the the bridge from when you went to feeling kind of disempowered and like not sure of yourself to where you are now, and also what role your animals had in getting you to where you are now.
Oh, man, it's been such a journey and it's never ending. Like my husband was just complaining that I change every week.
Okay.
Like it's so hard to keep up with you. He's like, you're a different person every week. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm constantly just in the state of what I call elevating myself closer and closer to where I want to go. So I've never been linear, so it's hard to really say. I think from when I first started this journey, again, I was very unaware, very unsure of myself. I didn't trust myself. I didn't have a voice at all. I would hear myself
Mhm.
on like Instagram stories and I'd be like, ugh. Like I didn't even want to talk. I was afraid to speak my truth in any capacity. I was um small. I was afraid to take up space. And I think now, from that version of me 7 years ago to now, I'm just like a powerhouse. I'm not afraid to speak my truth. I'm not afraid to take up space. I'm not afraid to be authentically myself. Again, I'm not healed. Like I still have my things that I'm working through because we all that's the journey of life, and maybe that's why I'm changing every week. I think, yeah, I'm just a completely different version of myself, closer and closer to where I want to be. And where I want to be also changes very frequently.
Hmm.
Because something that may seem important to me right now may not seem important to me in 3 months,
Hmm.
you
When
know?
when did you launch Sync?
11/11/2019.
Oh,
Yeah, but we did take off. I did it full time April 2020. So it took 6 months to really get going, and then I was doing it full time.
okay. And then you had mentioned, yeah, talk a little bit just about how you came up with the idea to start the company. And I know you were in the fashion world, so did it feel easier because you had been in that world before,
Yeah,
or?
absolutely. So I think in the beginning, especially like I was photographer, I still model a lot for the brand because I enjoy it. And I also still do a lot, like not a lot because I have a really great photographer, two great photographers, but I do maybe like 30% of the photography still, like if we have a new product in and we need to shoot it really quickly. So, but in the beginning, I was photographer, model, customer service, packaging team, everything. And I operated out of my apartment. I had two
Okay.
levels, and the upstairs was the inventory, and I would package in the kitchen, and I would take product shots by myself, of myself with my phone. I would like hook up the camera and like so that was the beginning. How I got into it. So I saw, before I started Sync, I started a digital marketing agency. So this
Okay.
was beginning 2019. I saw there was like a huge gap. This was end of 2018, beginning 2019. So around the time I had gotten King, I was like getting more confident. I was like, okay, I gotta start something and make some money. And I know I can't work for anyone. It is not my personality. I'm an Aries. I'm very like, I hate anyone telling me what to do. It drives me crazy. So I knew the only way for me was to be self-employed, to be happy. So then the first thing I did was start a digital marketing agency, and I worked with local businesses and I helped them figure out, market. I always loved advertising and marketing since I was 6 years old. So that's the first thing I realized. When I was 6 years old, I would watch commercials, and instead of like looking at what they were selling and getting mesmerized, I would think to myself, how did they say what they said to make me want to buy that. I was intrigued
Wow.
and I was fascinated with advertising. So I would watch ads all day long. So then I was like, okay, I really like marketing. I like advertisement. I like the psychology behind it, and I like products. But before I had that idea, I worked with these different companies on how to market their stuff on the internet, like Instagram, Facebook ads, Google ads. All these things were just taking off. Like the world was shifting into digital marketing. So I learned a lot of different things while I was working with these clients. But then I realized it was taking too much of my time. I wanted to create something that's automated so I can literally just hang out with King and make money while I'm doing it, something that involves him. And I didn't want to have accounts and clients because that was kind of like my corporate structure that I was trying to get rid of, but I wasn't ready to let go of that corporate theme yet, right? So then I said, okay, let me stop doing this. What is something the market is missing? And then I said, well, breeches and riding apparel, like none of it is cute, none of it is comfortable, it's boring, and I could make it so much better. So I had the idea.
Okay.
Two people told me like within the same month, oh my God, you should create your own riding clothes. You always look so put together. And that was like the universe speaking. And I was like, oh my God, I had this idea. Two people who don't even know each other literally said the same thing to me. And that was like my, okay, we got to do this sign. You know, like you can't get a signier sign. So then I started with three breeches out my apartment, you know, doing every freaking job by myself. And then it just like we sold out so quick and then it just kind of went psh. I think over the last 2 years, especially, we've really, I would say we're one of the top three brands in the US right now, where I go out and I see people wearing Sync at every horse show I'm at every, barn that I go to, that
And
I
it's
visit.
it's grown really fast.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that's the manifestation piece. So I do business very differently. I don't do business from 3D as I call it.
Mm.
I operate from a completely different field. I don't believe in hustling until my eyes are tired and I can't, I gotta work really hard. I mean, I did work hard in the beginning, don't get me wrong. But then I realized there's another way, where I can manifest things to come to me. I don't chase things, I don't chase opportunities. I visualize what I want. I act like it's already done and it's done. I worked on my belief system with money. This was huge. This is what took us to
Mm.
seven figures. It wasn't even the manifestation so much. It was realizing that I had so many subconscious beliefs about money that I wasn't even aware of that were holding me back. Like my nervous system was not ready for seven figures, but yet I wanted seven figures, right? So you want something. And then I realized I had a yo-yo pattern. So one month, like we had like a really big month. I think this was like year two. And I was so happy. And I was like, holy shit, I just made my salary that I had at my 9 to 5 in 1 month. And I
Wow.
just could not believe it. And I was so happy, but then I freaked the fuck out because one, I know this now, I didn't know it at the time, but I didn't feel worthy of it.
Mm.
And my nervous system was not ready for it. And then the next month, I self-sabotaged myself.
Oh no.
I started to notice a pattern like that. I was like, okay, why is it up and down, up and down? And at that point, I understood that every single thing in my life is just a reflection of my energy. It has nothing to do with the season. It has nothing to do with people. It has nothing to do with my product. My sales are a direct reflection of my vibration, my frequency, and my belief systems. So then someone introduced me to this book called Rich as Fuck by Amanda Francis, which also
Okay.
changed my life. And I got into this money work, uncovering subconscious beliefs about money, working on my nervous system. I actually ended up creating a whole course on this just for fun
Yeah. Just
because,
for fun?
yeah, like the money that I get from it, I mean, whatever, it's nice, but it's not why I created it. I created it because I saw such a huge gap in
Mm.
the market for entrepreneurs when it comes to understanding how their subconscious beliefs on money are holding them back in their business. It's not
Mm.
what they're selling, it's not what they're doing. Everything is a direct reflection of your vibration. And if you don't have those subconscious beliefs about your money, right, your money will stop. We all have a money meter, right? So there's a minimum and a maximum that we're always comfortable with. This is the bare minimum I make every month. I never go below that. This is the maximum I make every month. I never go above that. And we've got to push that money meter purposely all the time and get our nervous system ready and figure out what those subconscious beliefs are. It could be something like your parents said, like money doesn't grow on trees, like something really small they said one time could really stick in that subconscious and hold you back from making money. Money doesn't grow on trees. Okay, now what? Now you're wired to believe that you've got to work really, really hard all the time, 24 hours a day, hustle, hustle, hustle to make money. Not true. Money is a natural state of energy and it flows to you naturally. The natural state of money is abundance, like the trees, like the rain, like everything else. And it's only your limiting beliefs that hold you back from having it flow to you more and more. And the more you give, the more you make too. That's the other thing, right? Money is an exchange. Like I tip really well, for example, because I'm like, this tip is going to make such a difference in this person's life. I don't look at the bill and say, they want 20%. Service was this, that. Who gives a fuck? I give because like to them, it's like to get a nice tip, it's gonna make their day. You don't know if they have a family, you don't know how that money's gonna help them. It's a nice feeling, it's an exchange. When you have bills, for example, a lot of people cringe up when their bills come
Mm.
because their nervous system is like, oh, I gotta spend money. And you literally, just by doing that, you block money from coming to you. Instead, you gotta change that to like, oh my God, I'm so grateful I have, a place to live. I'm so grateful I can get gas to go from A to B. I'm so grateful I can go to the grocery store. A lot of people, can't do that. So you've got to change that mindset with money. And that was a huge thing. That's what took us to seven figures. And that's why we're blowing up the way we are, is because I worked on that.
Wow. So you have this course, so it's like is it just like a do it at your own pace kind of
Yeah, it's
course
like
or
10 minutes, 10-minute videos per chapter on your own to do. And then it has like some questions and things like that at the bottom, just for people
cool.
to realize, because
Uh,
it's such a missing piece. I think there are a lot of
yeah.
manifestation courses, but for me in particular, this was huge.
Yeah, I need to
And
sign up for it.
yeah, your own pace, but it was really life-changing for me, which is why I wanted to share it. And I was making
Yeah.
money before, but I just was not going past a certain point, and it was like yo-yoing. And I just couldn't
Yeah.
understand why until I started doing this work. And I'm like, this is huge. Every entrepreneur needs to know this.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to know this, even if you're not an entrepreneur, because you can get yourself promotions and all sorts of things when you understand this. Change
Yeah.
the way money comes to you in life. It's almost like mystical things happen and you start noticing them. And it just opens up like a whole new way of looking at abundance.
That's cool. Cool. Well, I'll put that in the show notes too. But let's tell me, I know you had mentioned your dog had a big impact also on your journey. Do you want to talk about what that looked like?
So he is just the cloud, I call him. His name is Leo. He's a Samoyed.
Leo,
And
okay.
yeah, he's so happy all the time. He's so playful, so happy. He just smiles at you all day long. And then he starts howling. A wolf. He's like a wolf. Like he's also very
Yeah.
powerful, but like I see him as a unicorn.
Really?
Other side, yeah. I don't see him as a dog or even a wolf. I'm pretty sure he's a unicorn. Maybe that's why I also have a unicorn in my logo now that I think about it. But he is just, yeah, so much love, so much happiness. He's always reminding me to be present, to have fun, to just be joy, just joy for existing, not for anything else. And if I have a bad day, I just look at him and it's like, how can I have a bad day when this cloud is just smiling at me?
So
Yeah.
how do your animals, I know you had said that, I think I heard you said that sometimes you just ask King what you should do. So I guess I'm just curious, how have your animals helped guide your business, in addition to all these other things that you do?
Yeah, I just ask them questions. Like
You
if I'm
do?
stuck, yeah, if I'm stuck, I used to sit with King in the pasture and I'd be like, what do you think I should do about this? Or I would say, hey, can you help me with this? Or if I have like a new product, I'm like, hey, let's sell this out. And I really think they work miraculously behind the scenes because every time I ask them for something, I end up getting answers and things always work out the way I want them to.
What do the answers look like?
Results.
Oh, okay. But so you're not like, do you feel like you're having a conversation with him or you're just talking to him and then he's
I
doing
talk to
stuff
them and then I
behind the
get the results.
scenes? Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I can talk to trees like conversational,
Yeah. Okay.
but to them I just get results. I would say I'm very telepathic with though.
Mm.
Like
Do you
I
think
know Leo talks to me and I know what he's saying.
You feel like you just get like knowings of what he's
No
saying.
way. Yeah, like we had moved to a new house, for example, and we don't have a fence here yet. It's like sitting on 4 acres in the woods, and it's like Leo's dream. But we don't have a fence, and there's like deer and bears and coyotes and all sorts of stuff. So my husband and I would tell him, "Don't do this, come here, don't do that." And I actually had a I had a call scheduled with Shaylee, but like 2 days before the call, I randomly out of nowhere, I told my husband, I was like, Leo said we need to stop policing him around. He doesn't like it.
Okay.
Doesn't like it. So then he had food allergies, and I had a call with Shaylee, and she was like, literally, she said, Leo does not want to be policed around. He wants to be a free man. And I'm like, that's what he told me 2 days ago. So it was, and the food allergies came from his body not agreeing with the boundaries we were setting for him because he's also a very free man. He's just like King and I too. He doesn't like restriction. He doesn't like to be told no. He wants to do whatever the fuck he wants to do.
So what if you need to set boundaries though? How do you present those in a way that they
So with Shaylee, she said distract him. Like if he needs to not go there further, just be like, oh, look at this, come here. Like make it positive, in a way. With
okay.
King, we have healthy boundaries now. I think sometimes I was going too deep down like the spiritual end.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's easy to lose 3D boundaries. He's still a horse. I'm still a human,
Yeah.
and you're big, and you can hurt me even if you don't mean to. So we need
Right.
clear communication and boundaries. So we have that now, but in the past, yeah, there were times when that would totally get slipped away. And he is very powerful, as I say. He acts like a stallion, even though he's a gelding. So with him, um, you can't tell him what to do. It has to be a very fair partnership. He likes
Mhm.
justice, as Tara used to say. It has to be very just. It has to be a partnership, and it has to be fun to him too. I don't know if that
How,
makes
because I know exactly what you're saying. Like I see a lot of people on, yeah, so far on that one end of the spectrum that, yeah, horses are big and they are dangerous. So how did you implement the boundaries in a way to keep you safe, keep him happy? What did that look like in like real life
I think
in the
just
3D world?
and well, yeah, just creating space between us, like little horsemanship things that, like the basics that I think sometimes we can forget about. Like when I ask, "Don't come into my space," don't come into my space. I'm not going to hit you or anything like that, but I'm being very stern about not coming into my space. So if
It's
that
like
means,
almost like you have to present the energy
yeah,
itself, right?
yes, it's a very firm energy of no. And
Mm-hmm.
like in the beginning, when he wouldn't listen, I would like pick up some like sand from the arena and like throw it at him a little bit, and he'd be like, "Oh,
Mm,
okay, that means
okay.
no." I believe in positive reinforcement 100%. I'm not saying none of that is true, but I think if at certain points, like there's a fine line too, right? Horses are big, they can become dangerous depending on the situation. Again, this could also go into the body, nervous system. There's so many different factors here, right? But horses also like boundaries. They have their boundaries, and you don't overstep that. So why do you allow a horse to come into your boundaries? You should also respect
Right.
yourself you respect the horse to not go into their space. You should have that same respect in a way, and you can do it in a non-violent or mean way. You just need to set that, and that way you can become a partnership. A horse needs to feel safe too, right? So
Right.
I think for me, it was really hard sometimes to keep that because I was like, but I love him so much, and I want him in my space all the time because he's so cute, and I just want to hug him. Although he doesn't like to be hugged very much, but I just want to give him all the kisses in the world and like, come into my space, come into my space. I don't mind, but no, that transferred over to things, that I did not want. So,
Right.
yeah, having boundaries and still remembering horses are horses, we're humans, and respect is respect, and my horse is pushy. That's just his personality. He's very alpha, and we just need to make sure that we're a partnership.
Hmm.
And you're
And
not
also when you uphold or when you set those boundaries, it probably helps him also feel safer in a way.
I feel safer. Riding has become much better,
Yeah.
where I think him coming into my space was also very confusing to him.
Mm,
Because then the communication was not clear, and it just created confusion under saddle too. I think
mm,
that's what I would say. It created confusion.
okay.
Whereas now, because we have healthy boundaries, everything is very clear. I don't, I just, he went from being a horse who like was like, I don't want to do this today unless we were on a hack. He's like dragging his feet, where it's like one little thought of like forward, and he's like, okay. He's like happy to do it, because I think he feels safe to do so, to listen to me also.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think they just, well, it depends on every horse too, right? Because they're also different, just like we're also different. But with my horse in particular, like if he's going to listen to me, he needs to feel really, really safe that I can be a leader in certain situations and he can go with it and feel safe.
Right. And not feel like he needs to take over.
And sometimes I let him take over too. Like if we're on a hack, like he knows the footing better. He knows certain things better out there. So it's like it's a partnership, right? Like I'm not
Right.
always like, okay, you need to listen to me, you need to listen to me. I trust his instincts just as much as I trust my own. Or if something feels off and I'm riding, he may look sound and everything else, but if something feels off, something is off. I get off. But if even if everyone's like, oh no, but he looks great, he looks sound, no, something doesn't feel right. I'm gonna get off. And that's my instinct, him telling me, hey, no, something doesn't feel right today. I think I want a day off. And that's okay. Or if something scary happens, which it has in the past, like on a trail, I thought things were going to get out of control and my nervous system wasn't able to regulate, I got off. I walked past the crazy thing or whatever it was, and then I got back on because we still did it, right? But it's not fair
Yeah.
to be on him, also spiraling. Now we're both spiraling. None of us feel safe, and it's not going to be a good experience. I don't want to push through something where I can't bring my nervous system back.
Mm-hmm.
So getting off in that instance to me is totally fine. And then I get back on. And it still taught us both a lesson. We still walked past it. It wasn't scary anymore. We both came down, and now I can get back on. So those are all intuitive things of horsemanship and things that I've done with him.
That's cool. How has working with, I know you do a lot of your own just intuitive communicating with him, but how is working with like Shaylee or any other or Felicity, um, working with someone like them and King, how has that helped you get to know yourself better?
That's a good question. I think it has reassured me of some things that that he said that I felt,
Mm,
but I didn't know it was necessarily communication, but it was like, oh, like I thought that. And then like kind of like the thing with Leo and Shaylee, So it makes me feel confident about my own communication as well.
hmm
And it's also helped us bring closer, I think, in many ways.
mm. And just bringing you closer, how do you think?
Just like that I don't know, I can't really explain it. Just like when he tells them things that are like so heartfelt,
Mm,
you know? I mean, I've had like a lot of past lives with King too, and like I did some past life exploring with Felicity, which was really
mm,
interesting.
hmm
Um, I was holding on to like a lot of guilt from a past life around him, like letting that go. So yeah, it's been really interesting. But I don't like to get into the past too much either. So I have a different perspective on that. I think yeah, we've all had a past. We have past lives. We have past traumas, but I don't like to focus on that. I focus on where I want to go and how I want to feel as the version I want to become. Because the more we think about the past too, the more of a loop it can create
Gotcha.
of
Yeah.
feeling certain things. So like, yeah, sure, I mean, we've all had trauma, right? Like it could be one thing a teacher or friend said to you. Everybody has childhood trauma. But the more we just keep focusing on that, we also victimize ourselves.
Hmm. Okay.
So I like to think of the future and my future self and what that person's like and feeling those feelings now. The past is the past. I'm not even worried about it. I'm worried about the present moment and bringing the future to the present moment so I can hop those timelines.
Yeah, you're doing amazing at that, obviously.
Not easy though, I won't, it's dedication to
Yeah.
wanting it. So I always say, how bad do you want it? How bad do
Mhm.
you want the change? How bad do you want to be this version of you? Is the comfort of being who you are right now more powerful than the will of changing to become the version that you want to be?
Mhm.
So if the comfort is higher in that regard, it's going to be harder to change because you want to stay where you are. So you've got to really want it. And when you really want it, you will do the work to get there. And I think that's what differentiates like successful entrepreneurs too, is like they really want it. They want this. They want to become their best version. Or anyone who's doing chasing their dreams doesn't have to be, so, success is different for everyone. What success means to you may not be what success means to another person. But to even go after the dreams, the people who go after their dreams really want it. So the
Mm.
alternative of being where they are does not overpower the will of the change.
And then like people who just make excuses for things, you feel like they're just not ready for it, or
They're
what would you?
afraid of the unknown
Mm,
because to change is to be in the unknown, and that is uncomfortable.
yeah, this is true.
That's why the Dr. Joe work is great too, because you go to the unknown in every meditation. So it makes going into the unknown not scary.
That's cool. So I guess I want to wrap up with the question. Yeah, if you had one piece of advice, I mean, I know we talked a lot about meditation has obviously been a huge role in getting you to where you are. If you had, yeah, one piece of advice for our listeners and how they could create a more magical connection and feel that connection, like that they can get those intuitive messages from their horses, like you seem to naturally be getting, what would you recommend that they do?
Just what I love to do is to just open up my heart space with my horse. It is like the coolest feeling ever. You can just stand there and you can just, or even with your dog, or any animal, you can stand there and just focus on your heart, put all your attention in your heart, and just like visualize it getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I like visualize it, um, almost like coming together with my horse's heart. And I just feel like my heart's gonna explode and it just elevates you. You feel so much love. And like I said, love to me is the highest vibration we can all feel for one another. And it's an amazing feeling. And then it's communication too.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming. And is there anything else you wanted to add, or are you feeling
I think just trust yourself more than you trust others. Trust your horse and what your horse is telling you versus what other people are telling you because our horses are always communicating with us. And yeah.
awesome? Thanks, Natalia. I'll add the link to your course and also to Sync in the show notes. And it was really awesome to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What a powerful and inspiring conversation with Natalia Graf-Anders. You can check out Sync Equestrian and their stunning line of equestrian clothing at syncequestrian.com and use the code MyMagicalHorse for 10% off your purchase at checkout. If you'd like to join us at My Magical Horse, we have a growing online community and we would love to meet you. Go to www.patreon.com/MyMagicalHorse and you can join us there for free. Until next time, namaste, friends.